Hey everyone, Slambo here. I'm going to take a look at some of the Disneyland records that I've got in my collection today, partly because something arrived this week that I'm pretty sure fits in with that and builds on that collection. So the first one I want to show is one that I've shown a few times before. This is the Pirates of the Caribbean ride soundtrack. This is the original soundtrack with the auction scene where they're still trying to auction off Red. She's not the auctioneer yet. In fact, she is still or some of the merchandise that's being auctioned off. So that's one. Next one that I've got is sort of a mashup of a whole bunch of different songs that play at the Disneyland parks. So this one is basically it's called the official album of Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So tracks on here, we've got the song from the Main Street Electrical Parade. It's got Yo Ho from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is on the other record. It's got the Droid Rooms from Star Tours. So this was after the mid '80s that this was released. Let's see, does it say on the bottom here? Yes, MCMLXXXVII. So 1988. And if I remember right, Star Tours premiered, I think it opened in '87. I'm probably getting that wrong. It might have been '86. I know it was while I was still in California because I got to ride it a few times. And I was saddened to see it replace the Adventures Through Inner Space. But, Star Tours is a much more exciting ride and definitely much more or much closer to the vision of Tomorrowland moving into the end of the 20th century. Anyway, elsewhere on here we've got the song from the Tiki Room, the Tiki Room. It's got Minnie's Yoo-Hoo by the Main Street Saxophone Quartet. It's got the Main Street Pianist doing the Maple Leaf Rag. It's got a couple songs from the Country Bear Jamboree, which was on its way out at Disneyland. It's now been replaced by a Winnie the Pooh ride that I haven't yet ridden. Next time I go back to Disneyland, I'm sure I'm going to ride that. And if there's one spot in the Pooh ride that if as you go through a door, if you turn around at the right time, you can see the three animal busts on the wall from the Country Bear Jamboree. I forget their names, but they're written down around here. Let's see. And then on side 2 of the soundtrack, the official Disney album, we've got Mickey Mouse Club March, It's a Small World, Grim Grinning Ghosts, which is, of course, the main theme from the Haunted Mansion. And I think, personal opinion here, but Grim Grinning Ghosts is the best the best ride music ever, I think. There's so many ways that it can be played, and so many different ways. It does get played so many different ways on the ride itself. You can hear both major versions and minor versions. You hear it in upbeat, you hear it slow and ominous, and at the end you hear it very quietly on the way out in the exit queue as well. So it's all the way through there in several different styles, but it just sort of strings along and never quite feels off. It always feels like it's just right, and it never kind of does a jump cut between the different versions. It just flows from one version to the next, and it just works perfectly for that one. Let's see. Then also on here we've got Swanee River by the Royal Street Bachelors, which is one of the groups that tours they wander around New Orleans Square. We've got Laugh-In Place from Splash Mountain, which also I've never had a chance to ride, even though it was there while I was still in the area. And the rumors that I hear are confirmed that Splash Mountain is going to get a redesign, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's kind of sad that I won't have been able to see the current Splash Mountain based on Brer Rabbit stories that were in Song of the South, which is another thing I'd love to see, but I kind of doubt that I'll ever be able to see that one. And speaking of Song of the South, it's got Zippity Doo-Dah on here, which is probably the only thing that people remember out of Song of the South. And then we've got Magic Journeys from the Fantasyland Theater and When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio's Daring Journey. So there's a whole bunch of songs from Disneyland on here. And the third record that I want to show is the soundtrack to the Country Bear Jamboree. As far as I know, this attraction is still active at Disney World. I've never been to Disney World in Florida, so I don't know. I've just watched videos there. But growing up, I was able to see this at Disneyland. So I always remember, some of the songs on here. Oh, and there's the three bus that are still there in the Pooh Bear ride. Does it say the names down on here? It should. It does not. No, it doesn't say their names on here. No, there's Henry. He's the host of the show, and this record actually has a nice big book, so it's not just a gatefold. There's Gomer, one of the other bears in the show, and the Five Bear Rugs, the band. And there's another picture of them. And then we move on to the next page. We've got more pictures from the show. There's Wendell, and Liver Lips McGrowl is this guy. And there's Trixie. Let's see. Then we've got Terrence and the Sunbonnets. Some more adult jokes with them. And Ernest over here. And then we've got Teddy Barra, who's also on a swing. And Big Albert. And there's a photo of the whole stage, showing a few of the places. All of these on the stage, the bears will sort of elevator up from under the stage. Here's the swing that comes down from the ceiling. And then, of course, the backdrop behind the stage changes depending on the song. One of the songs that I'm always reciting on here is Mama Don't Whoop Little Buford. There it is. From Homer and Jethro Publications, which is another artist, another band that I've got in my collection. If you don't know about Homer and Jethro, and if you collect comedy, what are you doing? You should know Homer and Jethro. I know I've shown a couple of Homer and Jethro in other videos, and that's another good one to do a spotlight on in the future. So, Mama Don't Whoop Little Buford, I think you should shoot him instead. And then you hear a shot as the curtain closes on that one. Always amazed at how that got into the show. So the box that I've got today, this arrived actually on Monday, but I'm an election official, a chief inspector for the elections here in Madison. So Monday for me was all getting ready for the election that happened this week on Tuesday. We had some pretty significant elections, state and county and some city elections going on this week. And it was pretty important. Turnout's not quite what I think it should have been, but that's what always happens when it's not a presidential election. So here's your PSA. Go vote every chance that you get. If you don't vote, you can't complain. So anyway, this arrived on Monday. I wasn't able to open it Monday. Tuesday I was working the election. Yesterday I had some work in Milwaukee. I couldn't do it. So now I've got time. Let's open it up. And it is exactly what I thought it was. We got a couple pieces of cardboard there to hold it in place. This is the soundtrack to another favorite attraction at Disneyland, the Enchanted Tiki Room. This is actually the 2019 reissue from the Disney Records Vinyl Vault collection. There's the logo down at the bottom there. I was looking online after I put in the order for Antique Aloha that I showed another unboxing of earlier. I was reminded of this because Aloha and the Tiki Room, they kind of go together, and the Tiki Room has always been a favorite of ours. We always try to go into it every time that we go. I never got to see the under new management version. I've only seen the original show, which is, from what I hear, is the show that's been restored back into that attraction. So I'm glad to see that. But now I've got it on a record. So this record is the, as it says on the sticker here, originally released in 1968. This classic is now available on vinyl again. So I was looking around online for this, and everywhere I saw it was $50 or $60 for the original 1968 record. And then I saw there was a reissue, but that was showing up as $40 and $50 and $60 as well. So I went over to the official Disney store and they had it there for 20 bucks. So yeah, that's where I'm buying it. So I get it in the shrink wrap. I get it brand new. Let's open it up. And it looks like this one has a little booklet inside it as well, just like the Country Bear Jamboree. Make sure to save the plastic so I can keep that sticker. There we go. Put that aside. All right, so first time for me to open this, and there is a little booklet inside it. There we go, look at that. Oops, that's not even on the first page. There's the first page. So we have a photo from the outside showing the Tangaroa, the animated tree at the entrance. And then in here we've got scenes from the inside of the attraction. Let's see, Birds of Paradise, Jose, a bird with rich Spanish accent, which is one of the original characters of the show. And then a couple more photos from the show. And this record also includes stuff from the Jungle Cruise, which is right next to the Tiki Room at Disneyland. So I've never heard Jungle Cruise on a record. I've only heard it live while riding it. So we always look for Schweitzer Falls, which is of course named after Mr. Albert Falls. And if you look at my Instagram, I had a chance to photograph the backside of water up in Baraboo. There was a waterfall there where I was behind. So we got a bunch. We got, it looks like, more photos from the Jungle Cruise than there are from the Tiki Room. And that page is glued down, so that's not going to move. So that'll be fun to listen to. So on here we've got side one is the Tiki Room, the main song. Elfenshore from Die Reinixen. I don't know what that one is because I don't recognize that song. Then we've got Let's All Sing Like the Birdies Sing, the Hawaiian War Chant. I think that's the same one that Spike Jonze did a parody of, that I mentioned in the Antique Aloha video. Then we've got Hi Ho, which of course is the Seven Dwarfs famous song. Arranged and conducted by George Bruns. Side 2 is a Jungle Cruise narration by Thurl Ravenscroft. That'll be fun to listen to. He's one of those big bass voices that Disney tapped for a lot of ride narrations. And he's the voice of the narrator on the Pirates of the Caribbean record as well. Let's see, and then we've got the Adventureland Suite. Enchanted Tiki Room presents an entirely new kind of three-dimensional entertainment called audio animatronics, an electronic wonder in a world of Walt Disney wonders. This will be fun to listen to. Let's look at the record. Oh, darn, it's a red label. It's not the big white, big yellow rainbow label like I have on the others. So we got the Disney red label on there. I'll show you the others. And actually, that one is a different way to insert the record. On the Country Bears, you pull it out from the middle. I really like the rainbow label better than the red label. Partly because on the rainbow label, you get a little icon there that relates to the content of the record. So here's the from the Country Bear, we get one of the Country Bears on the record. On the official album of Disneyland, which is also the rainbow label, we have the castle with the Mickey ears in front of it. And on the Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, whichever you want to say it, also rainbow label, we have one of the pirates there. So I'm kind of disappointed that this is the plain red label. It doesn't quite match the rest of the collection, but you know, I'll get over it. I've got the music from the ride, so this will be fun to listen to, and I'll probably throw it on the record player this afternoon, right after I edit and upload this. Oh, let's see. Yeah, 2019 Disney, copyright 1968, Disney Records, Burbank. Oh, this will be fun. Okay, I'm back. I just had a chance to listen to the new record that arrived this week, the Enchanted Tiki Room, and the original soundtrack of the Tiki Room and the Adventurous Jungle Cruise. So I listened to both sides. It was great fun listening to it because it reminded me of all the times that I went on both of the attractions. I did notice a few differences on there between the record and what I remember from visiting the attractions. On the Tiki Room, I mentioned earlier the Elfenchor from Die Rheinixen. Can't talk today. That's a that was one of the songs in the Tiki Room show. It's the one where it's really just a whole bunch of whistling. It's when the flowers come in and they do the whistling song. And it was fun to listen to that again. The Hawaiian War Chant is the same song that Spike Jones did a parody of. Well, not a parody. It was a comedy cover of. So it's the same song. It was fun to hear that. And I did notice there's one little difference at the end of it when the storm happens. The show that I remember, the birds and the flowers and everything, they have to sing another song to calm the gods down again. They didn't do that here on this soundtrack. But Hi Ho is actually part of the attraction soundtrack. They kind of break the fourth wall in that, like they do throughout the show. The birds are always telling down, okay, it's time to applause here, and clap here and sing along with us, and they're talking to the audience. But the Hi Ho version that's on here, hi ho, it's out the door you go. Time to make room for the next show. So there were some lyrics that I never quite caught when I was actually there visiting. On the Jungle Cruise side, the side 2 is all the soundtrack for the Jungle Cruise. Well, not really soundtrack, but there's the sounds from the animatronics along the ride, and Thurl Ravenscroft is narrating what you should be seeing here. He's throwing in a few of the jokes that the Jungle Cruise is known for. Wave goodbye to the dock because it's the last time you'll ever see it again. And then there are a couple of other jokes in there, like the safari party that's stuck on the tree with the rhino's nose pointing at the bottom one, and as the rhino's horn moves upward towards the guy on the bottom, all the guys on the pole sort of shimmy up, and then they relax back down when the rhino pulls his horn back. So that's on there. He mentions the Schweitzer Falls, but says, they're named in honor of Dr. Albert Schweitzer, not Dr. Albert Falls. That was a bit surprising. So Albert Schweitzer was a real person who did a lot of work in Africa, and that's an interesting story to read on its own, but that's not the way the story goes now at the parks. Now it's all Dr. Albert Falls and not Dr. Albert Schweitzer. And with the new theming that's coming to the ride soon, they're going to be there was a rebuild announced for the ride earlier in 2020, I think. It was after March 2020 because I remember seeing the announcement, and the people in the parks doing the announcement were wearing face masks as well. So it was definitely during the troubles that we've had this year. But they were saying that they're going to be integrating a lot more stuff from some of the new story that they're developing for the ride. And one of the guys, when he announced it, he was wearing a Society of Explorers and Adventurers pin. So it'd be interesting to see what changes they make to the Jungle Cruise based on that. The Society of Explorers and Adventurers is a lot more prominent in especially the Tokyo park than it is in either of the U.S. parks. And Disneyland being the first park, that whole story arc really was not yet fully developed. And it'll be really fascinating to see what they do with it. A couple other differences that I noticed with the Jungle Cruise narration. He did talk about going behind the waterfall, but he didn't say anything about the backside of water. So that's totally missing out of there, and that's one of the signature lines from the ride that I remember growing up and seeing and riding it in the late 70s and into the 80s. Another one that wasn't there yet, probably because the animatronic wasn't there at the time in 1968 when the soundtrack was first released, was right at the end. There was no mention of Trader Sam, but there was the original tribesman war dance, basically. They're you can look on YouTube and see some videos of it. The guys are just going around in a circle, uh, typical stereotypical kind of drum beats going there, very very 50s 60s era look to it. That's been replaced, and we've got Trader Sam on the left as you come up towards the dock at the end. And one of the jokes there that I always remember, the skippers would say, Trader Sam's got a real special for you today. He'll trade you 2 of his heads for 1 of yours. So that's always one of my favorite jokes. And then he comes up to the dock at the end. Make sure you step out on the dock side of the boat. If you feel your feet wet, you're on the wrong side. So there's a few jokes that are still being told there at the parks. A lot that aren't being told because they weren't written yet when this was recorded. And a lot that have changed since this was recorded. So it was fascinating to listen to this. I'm glad to have this in my collection. Now I need to go through and get all of the other soundtracks for the rides and attractions at Disneyland up through about the late 80s when I was still visiting. So the next one on my list, of course, is a Haunted Mansion. There's a picture disc on the Disney Store for it. If I can get a few more coins in the bank, that's the next one that I'm hoping I can get pretty soon. On the store there, they've also got others like the Small World is on there, and there's a couple of others that I don't remember. But that's another goal that I'm setting for myself, is to get all of the Disneyland ride and attraction soundtracks. So I've got 3, well 4 if you count the Jungle Cruise on the backside of the Tiki Room on side B. So technically, I guess you could say I've got 4 soundtracks, but 3 soundtrack records from Disneyland, including the compilation of various songs from Disneyland and the Firehouse 5 record that I picked up in March. Firehouse 5 plus 2. If you go back to my birthday haul video on that one, posted somewhere around March 10th or so, you'll see that one in the commentary that I had for that one. So that's what I've got today. See you next time.